Right, so I was just minding my business, going through YouTube until I came across this one video. These archetypes ruin basketball. Then on the thumbnail, I'm seeing LaMelo Ball. As a LaMelo Ball glazer, you can see it in my background, just there. I've even got a poster of it. As for LaMelo glazer, I can't stand to have this. So let me just give me one sec. There we go, LaMelo jersey. And yes, I know he's got traded, but I'm waiting for the season start before I get the new one. And let me just bang. Yep, even got the poster here. So let's react to this and let's actually dissect the hate that is given to LaMelo. Because you know we don't take any LaMelo hate around here.
What happened to basketball, bro? When I was a kid, I wanted to be Kobe.
Now people want to be LaMelo.
I was screaming in my neighbor's face for looking at me funny after hitting the weakest post fadeaway you've ever seen. Now kids want to be broccoli-haired, dribble spammers whose whole game looks like they're seizing up. You're not crazy to think that basketball's changing. Ever since TikTok dropped, the NBA has been filling up with these shot chuckers, turning dribble moves into viral dances, and losing games like that's their full-time job. Ever since Jalen Green and Jordan Poole were born, America has fallen, bro. Prices are up and vibes are in the dirt. We used to be the king of this sport. And now every day, we're getting chewed up and spat out by some Asia or Itvia-ass country that's smaller than Arkansas.
But that's not our fault. That's no one else's fault but USA's fault. And like, doesn't really change anything. Just because the USA is not dominating the sport means the sport's got bad. If anything, it's showing worldwide that the sport's getting better. Right now, look at it. The top 3, top 4 in basketball right now, is it top 5? I can't really tell. Are from overseas. So it's showing, like, you know, the NBA is becoming more wide ranged.
These bagwork spamming, low IQ, flash over effectiveness shot chuckers are killing basketball. My brain cells and my hope in the next generation by the day. You think these guys are annoying? Let me show you why they're terrorists.
Alright.
Enter Jalen Green.
Okay.
You guys say
By the way, he's saying they're terrorists. LaMelo Ball best not be in this conversation. He ain't no terrorist.
Too much. I say I'm just trying to keep you guys safe from him and the horrors that he causes.
Horrors?
To explain, let me take you back. I'm 15, 16-year-old Swish County. I'm failing the fuck out of pre-calc and ripping Balls Life videos in class like you probably expect. And what I saw in my Kobe 9s this day changed my life forever. This kid from Prolific Prep is moving different. He has the bounce, of course, but he also has the body control. He's bigger than all these kids, but he's also the smoothest guy on the block. I knew what I was seeing wasn't just another high school mixtape. I had found my guy. So off I went. I was spreading the word like a missionary. I hit the lunch table discussions.
So when you say your guy, are you basically saying like this was your favorite player? Like just trying to, you know, like get along his lines. Because this was the same with me with LaMelo Ball when I found him.
I told the boys at practice. I told everyone I know. This guy is him. Just so I could remind them who told them so when he held up that Larry O'Brien trophy years later while I cried tears of joy. Every shot, so every poster, every YouTube view was proving my point. And when high school was over, the vision was complete. By the time I started glazing, Jalen Green was a viral sensation that was too smooth to ignore. By the time high school was over, he was the consensus #1 player in the country. Nobody was stopping Green from becoming the best collegiate scorer in the 21st century. And no one was stopping me from annoying the fuck out of them by saying I discovered him first. But then, Jalen Green made the decision that would cement him in basketball hell forever. In the pursuit of a bag, Jalen Green had forgone college for the dumbest basketball league since LeVar Ball's JBA. The G League Ignite was supposed to be a substitute for college that gets some cheddar in your pocket while giving you grown men you can...
That's not his fault. And if you look at outside looking in, you look at Europe and how they're sorted out. After when you hit 16, once you're done with you go against grown men. In America, you don't get paid. You can be a viral sensation and you start getting paid because it's illegal to get paid in college. Here in the UK, if you're an athlete and you have your stuff on the side, you can still make money from that. You come up there. So obviously he wants to make a bag. Who wouldn't? What person in that situation wouldn't play against grown men, not people his age, against grown men and make money?
Test your game against before the NBA. G Leaguers on average are better than college players. Getting $1 million from the G League beats eating ramen noodles and Ritz crackers in a dorm room. But all that glitters is not gold. Jalen Green spent the year playing AAU ball for big boys. He was playing in meaningless games in empty arenas to get to that chicken 1 year early. He was hitting his tween crosses. He was making his TikTok dances. And by the time the NBA draft...
Again, it's not his fault that this competition was weak. But again, me personally, I would maybe go to America to the college just because they're historic. I'm playing in March Madness, just being in March Madness. Remember seeing Cooper Flag in March Madness, Zion, Carmelo Anthony. I think he did miss out on not going to March Madness.
Draft bells rang. He renegated his way into the number 2 pick in the NBA draft. He was the
which is not bad. Number 2 pick.
Face of the post-Harden Rockets. He was dropping 20 a game. He was on posters and cringy edits all over. I should have been over the moon, loved him. But there I laid, looking up at it, wanting more. Because once Jalen Green made it to the league, I realized he had been ass all along. See, Jalen
that's a hot take. That's a hot take.
That day. I thought all those crosses into jellies meant something real. But once I saw him try and hit that shit on someone who doesn't work in finance, I realized by searching for sauce over substance will only break your heart. Despite the point totals, Jalen Green was born to command the tank like no one ever. He'll give you that 20 points per game on some totally shit shooting percentages. And when you tell him to do any more, he'll spit in your face and walk away. And that brings us to today. The guy I was glazing since before I could drive a car is now sitting in Phoenix making TikToks and playing like shit with painted nails because I bought into a facade that wasn't real. These hezzies, these mezzy-wezzies, they were all for what? Jalen Green taught me that trusting in a man that offers little more than sauce will leave you lost. He was chosen over Scotty Barnes. His own fans joke about him being autistic, and he's still way better than you, bro. He was chosen over Evan Mobley, who also never ever gets better at basketball. But he...
Okay. Evan Mobley is so mid, okay? Jaylen Brown with Evan Mobley is mid versus mid, okay?
Busted archetype that curses every franchise that grays and every eye that's forced to watch. So now, when I sit here in front of you and tell you about these players, you can tell me I'm a hater. And maybe I am.
Yeah,
what I'm trying to tell you is these guys are so ass on so many levels that sometimes all you can do is punch it out of them.
Okay, they won't be ass if they're in the NBA and they're still in the NBA. If they lost the team, fair enough.
This video is sponsored by Courtyard. I want to show you something that
after the ad break.
The dynasty. The Warriors were the most sophisticated basketball machine ever built. Jordan Poole was the least sophisticated man in the NBA. And together, they did the impossible. The system of Klay Thompson corner camping, Steph running off screens, and Draymond playing quarterback had dried up a bit. 4 years withdrawn from the last Larry, but one crucial piece was ready to bring that vision back to life. Jordan Poole was everything you expect out of this archetype. He's hitting TikTok dances, he's the most light-skinned person on the planet, every play's a highlight or a low light, and he's both teams' worst nightmare. Logic tells you that Jordan Poole was going to drain the swamp of the richest pool in the league, but the eye test showed that the Warriors couldn't stop winning. By utilizing Poole in a similar way to Steph, by floating off an army of off-ball screens, Poole brought this unpredictability into the Warriors' offense that was completely foreign.
We understand why Jordan Poole and Jalen Green are also in the same conversation. Like, Jordan Poole was actually good. Jalen Green was never actually good.
This wasn't brought by Wiggins. This wasn't brought by Sean Livingston, not Iggy, and certainly not Klay. With a secondary shooter sprinting through an army of bodies, you couldn't chase around Steph on one side
and follow
Poole on the other. He would shoot the ball with Steph levels of confidence. He'd take you off the bounce. He was erratic for the Warriors, which at times could get spooky, but this flair revived an offense that was clearly at the back half of its life cycle. See, the 2022...
Mind you, Jordan Poole was not only good in this season. He was good before that. Like, mind you, if you've been watching basketball for a while, you'll remember Jordan Poole with longer hair. He's been somewhat decent for a while.
Two Warriors revived a lot of dead careers. Klay Thompson came back from his run of career-altering injuries for one last ride with Golden State at the top or near the top of his game. Andrew Wiggins was just an NBA bust, who is now starting for the NBA All-Star Game. And for hell's sake, the Warriors were so far out of contention that even after all of their monumental accomplishments, no championship hit harder than the 2022 chip In the year they were completely written off.
Yeah,
But of all the
2022 did
storylines,
actually save
of all the
Curry's
careers
legacy.
that were written off just to burst back in the loudest way possible, Jordan Poole felt different. This guy came into the league splitting time in the G League. He was one of the most inefficient players in the NBA when he entered. By
Yeah, and he worked his way up.
he was resurging the Warriors' dynasty and earning a contract paying over $30 million a year. By all measures, Jordan Poole was a future building block for the next Warriors era. But there was one man in the building that wasn't buying it. See, Draymond Green had to go to work with this man every single day. We got one season of Jordan Poole the champion. Draymond got 3 years of Jordan Poole the co-worker. And at training camp, October 2022, after one comment too many, Draymond Green closed his fist and performed the most important piece of basketball analysis of the decade. And look, I'm not saying you should punch your coworkers. HR says I have to
So
say
what are
that,
you
by the
saying?
way.
What are you saying?
What I'm saying is Draymond Green is the only man in NBA history who ever did the film study with his hands. Because here's the part everybody
what do you
gets
mean by that?
backwards about Jordan Poole. The shot creation is real. He can get his own shot off. No help needed. That's a real skill. That's not nothing. And you can argue that's the most important skill in the game. It's about buckets at the end of the day. But shot creation in a vacuum isn't a superpower. It's a loaded gun with no safety. It only works when you hide it inside someone else's system as the third option. The wild card off the bench who gets to hunt for highlights because the defense is already broken by a guy named Steph Curry. And the team
that's
is
how
anchored by a
everyone should
perennial
be
defensive player of the year
Curry
candidate
on
at
your
the
team.
other ends. Poole wasn't winning games. Poole was a passenger with a steering wheel he wasn't supposed to touch. And for
I think that's a bit harsh. That's very harsh to say to Jordan Poole. If you're on a team with Stephen Curry, you play your role, you play your position. Curry's on the thing. You could do whatever. Same with everyone that play with LeBron. If you play with a top 5 player in the league, you're going to do that. You could do whatever. Why? Because everyone's focused on the actual better player.
one season, the novelty was electric. The bag was never the engine. And the second anybody asked this man to be the meal instead of the seasoning, we all found out exactly what he was. So the Warriors shipped him to Washington after Draymond knocked his dumb ass out. In year one in DC, it wasn't
not
just
his
bad.
fault.
It was historic. Poole's advanced numbers had him pacing for one of the worst statistical seasons by a high-usage player in NBA history, on a Wizards team flirting with the worst record in basketball. It wasn't a slump, it was his new identity. So the Warriors flipped him to New Orleans, and for the first time in 2 years, Jordan Poole walked into a building with some expectations.
Yeah, so
other
actually
than
on a decent
commanding
team now,
intent.
like
A
somewhat
roster that was
decent.
trying to win basketball games due to their lack of upcoming draft picks. He lasted 3 games, 0-3 start, and the Pelicans benched their $30 million man for Jeremiah Fears because Poole was such a nuisance to the team. And it didn't stop there. By February, he was benched again for 10 straight games, on a team sinking towards 15-41. This season, the numbers were too ugly. 13 a game, 37% from the field, and an empty bag. But the greatest gift Jordan Poole ever gave to basketball isn't the ring. It's Draymond's apology tour. Because this man has spent years explaining that punch, and the explanation never gets more complicated than, you don't understand. Have you met him? Every few months, a new
Draymond's
podcast,
just
a new
awful,
interview, the same
It's
tweet.
just so awful,
I
man.
had
No
to
one
do
actually
it.
cares.
These guys are just like that. And bro, if you have to
Yeah,
keep
whatever.
going on tour, 3 years later, still justifying it, that's not a guy defending one bad moment. That's a guy who still can't believe he survived that locker room. And honestly, look at the man's greatest hits. He stared down his own coach, after making the second shot of a game he was playing horribly in, and then immediately played the worst defense ever recorded by human cameras. He tried to throw a lob off the backboard down 20.
Damn.
I mean, this is who Draymond had to go to work with after winning 3 championships.
Okay, but we're not condoning what Draymond's saying. Like, he's saying Draymond had to work with this guy. You had to work with this guy. Young players grow. That's fine. Draymond still punch people, kicks people in balls, he steps on people's head. Like, there's no single way where Draymond's ever in the right in a situation like this.
Contract wasn't guaranteed. This man would be out of the league today. And somewhere right now, Draymond Green is on a podcast still explaining.
I don't think he will. Like, Jalen Green, like, obviously not start and blah, 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 but I don't think he'll be out of the league. Any tanking team could just basically just have him because he'll play, won't he? Like, I don't think he'll be out of the league. He's too good not to be in the league.
He shouldn't have to, bro. Some of us understood the first time. But Jordan Poole wasn't the only meathead that ended up getting punched. Even the most efficient, clean-cut version of this pure shot creator archetype in Tyler Hero ended up getting his ass kicked by Bam Adebayo for running his mouth. He never had to see Tyler again if he didn't want to. But after Hero was caught up in his own KD Files type situation, even after being traded to the Milwaukee Bucks, Bam Adebayo flew to Vegas to catch this guy lacking because he was getting sick of him. And I can't blame him. The NBA reached a tipping point, and these guys are getting dumped off the edge. You have guys like Cam Thomas, who thought of themselves in that Jordan Poole territory of near max money on the Brooklyn Nets. He gave them 24 points a game.
Yeah, Cam Thomas was
44%
decent.
from the
I'm a
field.
Brooklyn Nets fan. I would know he was actually decent, but it's the money. The
35%
money was demanding. No.
Cam Thomas
And his playmaking, he can make a bucket fine. Defense shrink you, kick out the ball, bro. That playmake. Generally, you're going for 2. You can't make the 2. Let's get
is
a
an
3.
NBA window shopper's dream. He's commanding the tank, without letting his efficiency dip into empty stats territory. But in the modern NBA, these empty stats merchants are just hiding in plain sight. It doesn't take sub 40% shooting anymore to be a bit of a fraud. With Cam Thomas, the scoring talent is there undeniably on 3 levels.
Yeah.
Where it falls apart is every other aspect of his game. He doesn't swing the rock. He's the worst defender in the NBA. He's cannibalizing shots that may be decently efficient, but when distributed around the floor, you can find the production and more in players that add a bit more of everything on top of buckets and AAU moves. The market's spoken on Cam Thomas. After expecting near max money, he's been fucking waived. He got re-signed. He put up big scoring numbers once again, if there was any doubt, waived. Then left to dry in free agency. This guy's putting up all-star level box scores undeniably, but the on-off numbers tell you this guy's not able to go out on the floor and even be a net neutral. No team wants him in any role for any amount of money. And it's not just the numbers. According to MPJ, Cam Thomas never builds relationships with teammates, just stands there, doesn't open his mouth, and doesn't pass the ball. Because this guy only cares about himself and the 14 people on Twitter who argue he's a star in the league. The analytics era killed the shot chuckers we know and love. DeMar DeRozan,
MPJ is no better.
20 years ago, these guys are perennial all-stars. I mean, in the 2010s even, these guys were all-stars. Today, only the Kings can fall for their antics. Even Anthony Simons was projected as a future all-star. This was like the guy you're a fan of to show your ball knowledge. Big athletic point guard that can shoot and facilitate, if he wants to, I guess, while averaging 20 in his sleep. And when the market spoke, all he was able to pull in was a minimum contract in 2026. The bag work didn't save any of them. The bag is why they fail. So how did we get here? How did an entire country decide this was the way?
Okay, are we already? Wait, let me just double check. We're already halfway into the video. We've got like 6 minutes left, and you haven't even mentioned LaMelo Ball. But you put LaMelo Ball as the flipping thumbnail. Like, are you just reaching for views here? You trying to get LaMelo Ball just for the views? I'm waiting to the. Let's skip to the bit where he actually mentions Melo's name. I can't be bothered to debate with him about any of these bum ass players.
Thinking, what about the
Now he's talking about LaMelo.
ones that do make it? Let's play it out. Say you beat the odds. You became the absolute best version of the bag merchant. You
Bag merchant. Obviously, nigga can
ball
cook.
out at every level.
Yeah.
Earn a max contract.
Yeah.
You won, right?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if you heard, but LaMelo Ball just got traded by the franchise that invested everything in him. And mind you,
I wouldn't say LaMelo got traded. The Timberwolves traded for LaMelo. I think that's a better thing to say.
he's good. He offers more than buckets. In fact, he's one of the few pass-first guards left in the league.
Okay,
Give me
yeah.
analytics back, and
Yeah.
EPM says his offense is so elite that his mid-level defense doesn't matter.
All right, yeah.
The Hornets exploded in the second half of last season. Young core, new connector, and Con Knipple, one of the rising threats in the East. The
Yeah.
Hornets had one of the best offenses in the NBA. You know how
Alright.
weird that feels to say? They were fun. They put asses in seats. Outside of watching Wemby or New York, Charlotte had a case for the most entertaining team in basketball, and they
And I was
still
ready for
traded
them.
him. Why? Because he's a basketball troll.
Okay, come on now. What do you mean basketball
At his
troll?
best, he's elite. At his worst, he's unplayable. And not being
Unplayable. That's a bit harsh. That's very harsh for a young player.
able to trust your offensive engine doesn't get you over the hump. It didn't even get them over the play-in. His average possession
Okay, because the whole Hornets weren't good in the play-in.
looks risky.
Look at the Hornets stats. I'm gonna put them up here. I now just blame LaMelo Ball.
Than everyone else's, and a huge chunk of fans agreed with trading a player whose numbers say it's a no-brainer to keep him. The analytics said keep him, and the league's guts said no. They dealt an offensive engine, one of the hardest finds in the NBA, for Naz Reid and draft picks the Charlotte Hornets are definitely going to fuck up on anyways.
Yes,
so follow the math. The best outcome for this entire archetype, the 1 in 1,000 kid who...
And that's all he has to say about LaMelo Ball. See, I don't even think this is really a constructive video talking about them all individually. He talked about the other ones individually, which made more sense. But he didn't talk about LaMelo Ball. Well, mind you, LaMelo Ball went from the Charlotte Hornets to the Timberwolves. He went from playing with a rookie Knipple, who's obviously going to be amazing, and a team that's slowly building, to a team that's been in a conference final. Like, see the massive change there. He's gone from playing... Pretty much, if you want to hate on LaMelo or say anything about LaMelo, you have to watch this current season. Because all the previous seasons for Hornets have been just mid. Now he's actually a really good team. Now you can say, okay, LaMelo's not that, or LaMelo is that. And I'm down for it. I'm ready to get the new jersey. But this video doesn't really criticize LaMelo. Don't know why he's even in the thumbnail. But the YouTube player has a video that's popped up right around, let's say, here. And obviously, if you stayed here, you might as well click here. Let's get to 100 subs. And my IG and my TikTok are down below. So you want me to get the raw footage videos, I'll be posting them on there. Just glaze and mellow, easy and quick. And I'll probably post it there when I get the jersey. See you in a bit.